Welcome, everybody. It's another wonderful Monday night of Chewin the BBQ Fat. Man, I'm excited tonight. I got my heroes coming on. The guy that knows more about barbecue than anybody in the world to me. And then also have Robert's coming on also. But it's going to be a great show tonight. If you've seen anything, what's going on, watch the video that we shared. It's going to be great. Let me turn off my phone, which I'm glad to see. Y'all like the page, share the page, get this out there because it's going to be informative for all the other different reasons of what we do on this show, which our whole goal is to get barbecue knowledge out there. Rob Bauer, my man, congratulations. First time cooking a contest, goes out and gets a top 10 call in chicken. Super proud of you. I'm sure you listened to everything that Robert told you. He is the chicken guru. The fourth of our team, Rob, is going to be on tonight also. So if you've watched any of my show, you know who that is, and it's going to be a great show. But anyway, like the page, share the page. There's a couple things I want to talk about before we get started. One of our good friends, one of our sponsored teams, Josh Roberts, he has started his battle, and I want to lift him up to everybody. If you know Josh, he's a great guy. He does anything and everything for people around him. He's tearing it up over there in that South Carolina SCCBA sanctioning things. But Josh, we're thinking about you. Hope you get well. Keep fighting. If you need anything, we're here for you. But you're the man, Josh. Thank you. And we will be praying for you for sure. But anyway, other than that, if you've watched some of the other shows throughout the past couple of weeks, you've seen a lot of great things happening. Emily, well, we'll talk about that later. You know what? Before I get into anything further, I'm going to bring on two of the best people in barbecue tonight to talk about something that neither one of them have ever really, they act like they've gone through it, but they've really never gone through this situation. Me, on the other hand, I've got a lot to talk about. But it's going to be a great show. Go ahead, get ready, because I'm going to bring on the professor first. Robert, how you doing?
Professor, where do you get this stuff from, man?
I mean, if anybody and everybody knows that you are.
Oh man,
you are the best teacher that's ever been. You are the best cook that's ever. I mean, you're it. You're the professor. You've taught me everything which I probably shouldn't say that because I don't know that much.
Everything you don't do you don't do any of that anymore anyway. You moved on to other people's stuff, so you're smart. Now you're winning.
Winning. You get to cook. Robert, thank you so much. I know it's going to be a fun night. I look forward to every Monday night that I get to come on and have you on the show because we always have a great time. Great friends. You know more about barbecue than anybody. Like, you are my mentor. You're my hero when it comes to barbecue. I'm not lying. And if anybody has never met Robert, go introduce yourself to him. What's up, Lex? And the real brains behind is Lex on. So anybody has any questions for Robert, Lex is on. She will answer everything.
You're right.
An open book for sure. And then the other part of the show tonight, I mean, this guy's amazing. He does everything well. He knows everybody in the industry, friends with everybody. You know, he is full of knowledge. And I'm going to go ahead and bring Wes on. Not only is he a great cook, he's an organizer, apparently. He is a promoter. He is a chef. He's the teacher of a kids. I mean, he does everything. So, Wes Garrett, politically incorrect. How you doing, my man?
Good. How you guys? Glad to be on. And I want to know in the comments, how many people did Brian call before he got me on the show? Can we get show of hands? So I think we went way down the list. So, but thanks for having me on, bud.
Well, to be honest with you, Wes called me earlier today begging to see if he could come on the show. And I said, you know what, Wes, whenever you want to come on, you are always welcome. So what's going on? Steven, how you doing, my man? Good to see you. What you drinking tonight, Steven? I'm sure it's something good. Looking forward to hear it. Scotty Wallace, Wes Garrett is – yeah, well, you're not in trouble with Wes being your mentor. He's a great mentor.
You can do better, Scotty.
What's up, John? All right, so Robert, I know that I sent the agendas out. Apparently, they got lost in the email world.
They did. I didn't get it.
So they didn't get the email, the agenda. What's up, Mark Weatherall? Great weekend this weekend. I don't know what happened to your brisket. Love to hear that story sometime. Not that it's good, but He called you for me. But anyway. All right. So before we get started, Wes Garrett, if y'all heard, he is a promoter. He's an organizer. I don't think he's an organizer, but he is one heck of a promoter of contests. And he is behind more contests than anybody realizes, especially in the Mississippi area. But Wes called me today, and he asked if he could come on the show or if I could talk about a contest that has moved but still happening. And I said, you know what? Anything for barbecue, anything for contest, I want them to happen. Y'all want them to happen. So, Wes, the floor is yours. Talk about another wonderful Mississippi barbecue contest.
Absolutely. Glad to do that. So most people know by now, I hope, we've got some group text going, some messenger. But on June the 25th and 26th, Back the Blue Q was going to originally be held in Madison, Mississippi. That was going to obviously be a double. Due to some venue issues that we've gotten corrected, Mark Porter also jumped in and was helping. So the promoter was Van Waits. Still going to end up being the organizer. But that venue is now changing to Brookhaven, Mississippi. It is not going to be a double, but we still are going forward with the one single contest. That will be obviously June 25th to 26th instead of the Sunday as well. But anyway, won't you guys still come on board? Want to have you down. If you've ever done Hog Wild, where Mark has had that before, phenomenal venue, full power, brand new pedestals within the park or within the parking area. Great location. We want you guys still sign up. I believe he is going to limit it to 35 teams. And he can come on, or someone can correct me, because he finally got the mayor on board today. So we are official. So we want everyone to know that if you have signed up, it is changing. It's about 45 minutes south of Madison. But most people that are going to cook it have already cooked Hog Wild, so you're familiar. Great, again, just great location. Can't thank Mark enough for stepping up, helping out, Van for pursuing it and keeping it going. So got any questions, reach out to Van. You can go on KCBS website. He's got his email, or you can reach out to Mark Porter as well. And I'll try to get his number up here in just a moment, so you can reach out to those guys. So
they're both commenting right now. So if there is a website, if there is a way to get an application, Mark or Van, either one of you that's on right now, shoot it out in the comment sections. I'll throw it up here, and we can get that information.
They both just commented. So guys, put your contact information. Let everybody know. We want this to be as good as Hog Wild was. We feel it can be as good, if not better. But again, we're still having it. So please come down. We'd love to have you.
And what is the dates?
Yeah.
June 25th through 26th. And I know we got some good Texas teams coming over. If you guys will help me get Robert to come down, because he just, he doesn't want to slum with us Mississippi guys. We've got to get him down to another contest. We got to have a star show up. It helps bring other people.
I'll tell you what. You speaking of
Bruce
star,
and Peters will be there.
I mean, I'm telling you what. You talk about a star. Well, let's finish up this. Mark Porter's got his cell phone number on there. Van's got his email. Van's got his phone number. Y'all look that up. Call him. Get in touch with him. Get the information out, because if anybody knows, we really pushed hard for the Brookhaven Hog Wild contest, and it was a great contest.
Yeah.
We're not going to back anything here on Chewin the BBQ Fat that we know is not going to be great. So go cook that contest. Sign up for it. Help Wes. Help Mark. Help Van. Go cook. There's not that many June contests, I don't think. Go get out there and go cook and go knock it out of the park. Get that opportunity to go to the Royal, to go to the Jag, do some of these things that we want to do back in barbecue again.
Absolutely. And look, I'll say this last thing. You will not go to a contest where the organizers, especially in the Brookhaven area, will bend over backwards. I've already mentioned before, great power, good water, location, food. It's just great. I'm glad that we're actually moving this. No offense, Van, but I just love that location and everyone that comes to it. I know Bill Purvis with Chicken Fried came over. He liked it. He's coming back as well. And he said, look, the location was great. So we want to see you guys come out.
It's awesome.
And 100% certified judges, maybe?
Mark, Van, matter of fact, I know there was 30 judges already signed up as of yesterday. So we need 5 more.
Robert, what's your excuse now?
Ooh.
What's that? I don't know. You know, we were talking about that. We'll talk about my video I just posted, but we went to that Union City contest, and then we went to the Cooks meeting, and they said they only had 50% certified judges. So we knew the scoring was going to be a little bit off because they definitely experienced judges definitely score differently than new judges in a lot of cases. In fact, it's probably the new judges that score more in line with what it says on the score sheet than your more seasoned judges, because over time it gets more inflated. But yeah, we saw some 5s and some 6s on our score sheet. I'm not sure what you saw, Wes, but yeah, we saw a couple here and there that surprised us.
Thank God for drop scores, right?
Yes, thank goodness.
You know what? I'm just telling you about the community of Chewin the BBQ Fat is amazing. Janet Gas in Alabama, she's just let you know she can send a list of judges if you need to contact them. I'll tell you what, I mean, if we don't all work out together, this is so great to see. I just love seeing us all come together. Let's make this happen. Let's make this be the best it can possibly be, because that's what it's all about. 5, 6, have mercy. I know, Matt Goodman. You know what? Y'all listen tonight, because our show tonight is going to have to do with that, right? It's going to have a little bit to do with the score and a little bit to do with and what's going on. But untrained judges, yeah, they do, Brian, and it's kind of crazy. But thank you, Janet. Thank you all for coming on. Man, my boy T-Ray is on tonight. Good to see you, Trey. He always watches when Robert's on. So, you know,
I've noticed that as well. Do you have to pay him to come on the show?
Hey, he only comes on here because he wants to heckle me. That's it. That's the only reason.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Stacy Evans, Westbury, we are talking about, go ahead, Wes, tell them again what the contest was and what it is now, or whatever. What's going on?
So we're talking about Back the Blue Q that was originally going to be held in Madison, Mississippi. Everything stays the same, except we move it to Brookhaven, and, you know, about 45 minutes. Matter of fact, Stacy knows where that is. So 45 minutes south, and everything's good to go. And Van just mentioned there's 33 CBJs signed up. So, Robert, there's really no excuses, man.
Hey, Randy Boswell's on, Robert. You know, hey, maybe he can go.
I'm telling you, talk about a blast from the past.
That's right. Scotty Chun, how you doing, my man? Good to see you on tonight. I wish I could have seen you at Memphis in May. Didn't get to go, but good to see you, bud. Another Brookhaven cookie. That's right. See, you know what? When something good happens, you know, that was a very good contest that was put on in Brookhaven. When something good happens, people want to get on and jump on board with it. So let's make this happen again. Let's keep rolling, and then let's see how many good contests that we can make happen this year. 2020 was a crazy year. A lot of things changed with the doubles and everything coming on. You know, let's make sure that this is something that continues to happen and happens well. But anyway, Bill Purvis is there. Y'all, if Chicken Fried is there, or any of those guys, it's going to be a great time, great contest. Bill Purvis is a great dude.
On fire.
He is, man.
He's absolutely on fire.
Yeah, Katie, you should go cook. Katie, Randy's wife, she's on. Randy, if y'all all know Randy, who I got the barbecue store from, great guy, great friend. He is buying at least 3 stick burners, a couple pellet grills, and I think another gravity fed. I mean, the guy's, he's back into cooking again, so look out. Rufus Teague Marble just canceled. Okay. There should never be nothing below an 8 on a judge's card unless you couldn't eat it. Well, see, Joe, I don't know if I agree with that, but that's all right. Anyway,
I'll go there.
Yeah, let's just keep moving on. But anyway, all right. So I want to get into, now that Wes is, we've snookered him into staying on the show tonight, because we've got a really good discussion to talk about. Robert and I, we talk a good bit. And we were talking the other day about his videos. If y'all don't know, Robert is world famous on YouTube. He is a worldwide. He's got subscribers all over the world.
Huge in Germany.
Yeah,
really big in Germany.
Yes, big time in Germany. But if you haven't liked his YouTube page, you are missing out. He was doing a lot of really good content. He took a break. But it's back, and if you watch it today, I share that. Go back and watch it on the Atlanta Barbecue Store Facebook page, or any of the other places that have been shared. He's a sensation. And the information that he gives is top notch. So, Robert, go ahead real quick. Talk about your show. Talk about where people can watch your show. And the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm lost for words, man, with that intro. What can I tell you? So, yeah, Lex and I finally sort of our slacking period of posting videos on Silly Barbecue Life. If you've been to our YouTube page, last year we got into filming or videoing mainly a contest. We did some other things too. We enjoyed it, but it was a lot of work editing, especially, and take time out on Friday and Saturday to film. You know, it got a little rough there towards the end. And I think with the last one we did it. I was doing a demo in Ooltewah, Tennessee. We did a pork and brisket there with Trey Terry. And that was the last one we did. And I think that was in the beginning of December. And we've actually competed in about 5 contests already, and I didn't film any of them. I actually did have some footage of an SCA we did in Marion, Arkansas, back in the end.
We are big fans. We are big fans here on Chewin the BBQ Fat of SCA.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So I'm working on that video, editing that now. So that'll be my next video that I post. But the one I posted today finally got loaded. It took a while to edit because it's been a long time since I edited a video. That's no joke running that software, let me tell you. But we did that, and that was of the contest in Union City, Tennessee, which is close to the Kentucky border up there, just north of Memphis. It was a really great contest. That's the one we were joking about that had the 50% certified judges. It was a first-year contest. And I hope that doesn't impact them, because I tell you what, we're talking about organizers going above and beyond.
Yes.
That was the only sort of downfall of that contest, was the 50% certified judges. And I think they'll definitely turn that around for next year. In fact, I think it's a double next year.
It is.
It's already on the KCBS schedule. So hopefully they sort of learn from that, and those teams that sort of didn't do that well because of the judging this last time. We did okay, so we survived it. But there's some great teams that didn't. So I don't know if they won't go next year, but I hope they do, because, again, great power, great water. But other than that, it was a really great contest.
Tons of space. Absolutely. The food trucks, the atmosphere. I mean, they knocking on your door, it seemed like every 20 minutes asking if you needed anything. Exactly. Great location. Did you get your handwritten letter in the mail today?
No, I didn't get that. That's probably I've been complaining about the judges. That's probably why.
Well, yours was a good handwritten letter. I'm not sure what yours is going to be, but
mine will be hate mail. That's for sure.
Man, hey, guys,
I think Jason.
Real quick, Robert. Real quick.
Huh?
I've got to stop that. This on Chewin the BBQ Fat tonight. When I bring up the big dogs like you two, I mean, the big time people start watching. Jason Cole is on watching the show tonight, guys.
That's the big dog.
I can't even look at that guy.
Jason Cole, we got Bill Corvus. We got T-Ray. I mean, we got the who's who of barbecue on tonight watching the show. Amazing. So thank y'all so much. But the other breaking news that has come in is Mark Porter said that you could load in Friday morning, and now he's backing off of that and saying you can pull in Thursday night late. So, Mark, if you can send an email out on that, get everybody going. Yep, Jason GC Colex is on tonight. So thank you, Jason, so much for coming on. All right, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought
I think Jason Cole called his shot Thursday night as well. So, I mean, he sat back and just pointed the homer off.
Oh, he did.
He's that good.
But that's normal, you know.
I'm starting to figure that out.
I know. Always. That's why we call him GC before even the contest has ended. That's just the way it goes. There's a higher he had a higher percentage of winning than the percentage of certified judges. We knew that. We knew it was greater than 50%. So, but it was, you know what? I think they're going to turn around next year as far as the judges. and then it's going to be one of the top-notch contests in Tennessee.
I agree.
I have no doubt in that.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so we did our video for that, and then I enjoyed doing that, getting back into that. But one of the themes of the video was it being in a barbecue slump.
So can I ask you a quick question, Robert, before you get started? You have this amazing YouTube channel going. And I know everybody knows this, but you were the star, you and your wife, Lex, were the star of the TV show Barbecue. Did that show, did that help you decide that you want to have this YouTube channel because of the amazing things that you were able to push out on the TV show? Or, I mean, what was it how did you go from the TV show to having your own YouTube channels? And that's kind of something I want to know. Because, I mean, if anybody ever watched Barbecue, you were the star of the show. You and Lex were, I mean, I think you won every contest that was ever on there. Y'all beat everybody.
I think you're biased.
Huh?
I think you're biased.
No, you can go rewatch them.
Go rewatch the show.
Pretty much every
at the end of the show. I mean, my buddy Chester Lewis, great guy, the specialist, he would always come in and jump on y'all's shoulders to say, hey, look what my friends did. You know, I mean, you guys tore it up on the TV show. So, and now you're transitioning that TV show into this new YouTube channel. And I think it's amazing the strides you've had and the amount of information that you're able to get out. So can you talk a little bit about that or not?
I guess.
Even more purpose agree.
You put me under the pressure, that's for sure. You know, I enjoyed the format of the BBQ show. I mean, it reminded me more of Barbecue Pitmasters Season 1. Following the different teams, doing different things. And I sort of wanted to follow that same format in a YouTube channel. I mean, you already have some great pitmasters out there doing how-tos. You got Malcolm Reed, all his videos, and a bunch of other great pitmasters out there. You can go and learn how to cook almost anything out there. I wanted to do a little bit that, but I wanted to do more like following the teams or communicating with the teams out there on the barbecue trail, asking them things. And, you know, like I said, this past contest, the theme was barbecue slump, being in a barbecue slump. And what brought that up is this probably was the worst up until this point, the worst sort of start to the year that we've had for a long time. In fact, we hadn't had a call in brisket, and that was at one point our top category. And I know Wes probably feels the same way about brisket right now. But luckily, we turned it around this past contest for that video, and that was our first call of the year in brisket. But I spoke to quite a few great pitmasters, Jason Cole included, Wes Garrett, Chris Schaefer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny the Dough with Uncle Kenny. So, yeah, that was the 4 interviews there to talk about a barbecue slump, and they gave some good information, I think.
So for those that did not watch this, shame on you. It's a great show. It's a quick 18-minute video, 20-minute video. Go watch it. But so don't give all the information out. But I kind of want to transition the show tonight because I want everybody to go watch it. Go watch that show. But what do you do? And this is, I'm asking you two amazing pitmasters, but I'm also asking everybody in the watching tonight in the comments. And I promise you, Robert, always, whenever he comes on the show, he does everything he can to go back a day or two later and answer questions. So if you do ask questions, he will come on. Wes will do the same thing and answer your questions. But what is something that you can do, Wes, and I'll ask you first because, Robert, I don't want to put him on the spot again. But what is something that you can do if you've ever been, and I don't know if, Wes, you've ever been in a barbecue slump, but what is something you could do if you were in a barbecue slump?
Well, first of all, let's go back to blowing Robert's head up. I'm just glad to share the screen with Robert. I'm not even in the same league as this guy. So the first part of my career was nothing but a barbecue slump. I would say we've been lucky enough. Maybe I've shigged a few things off Robert. He doesn't know. We've asked around. We've been fortunate here recently to top 10 and get some wins. But, the biggest thing for me is since we haven't been doing it nowhere near as long as Smoke Me Silly and some of the other great teams out there, what we have found that's caused the barbecue slump is when we have a contest or two and we don't do as well, we try to start chasing it. And when you start chasing it and you're changing things, you just get so far off track. And right now, when we started, again, we don't pretend we came out, we were world beaters, but we did okay. And we in brisket, that was kind of our calling card. We went to a contest. We were blessed enough we were probably going to get a brisket call, and everything else was lanyap, as they say. So, I really leaned on that. And as we started getting the other stuff lined out, we kind of veered off on our brisket. And then we started changing a few things. And we may get a call here, and then it'd go away. And we are so veered off from our original brisket recipe. I mean, we're not even in the same hemisphere. And a lot of that, and I want to say, if you guys go watch the show, you'll see from Robert, he just kind of went back to his roots. And that's what we're going to start doing, because where we were getting our calls at, I still have those notes. So Ready to Slump, if you get into it on a specific protein, is go back to your roots. Look at your notes. It's very, very important that you take detailed notes, not just your recipes, but every contest. Hey, this is what we did here where we went to, Gaston or went to Byram or whatever, and just kind of follow that up. And now we're resetting everything on brisket. I mean, we have chased this rabbit. We're so far, and it has cost us a couple of grands the last few contests, and rightfully so. I mean, we're nowhere near where we need to be. So go back to basics and have to start from there.
So we do have the professor on, and he's here. It's a Q&A tonight, of course. So what do you think you're messing up in brisket?
I don't know.
This question.
Who you think? What?
I'm asking Wes.
Oh, all right.
And then Robert, you have to answer the question.
Yeah.
So what do I feel like I'm doing wrong in brisket?
For the slump, yeah, because Robert is the professor.
Well, I changed changed injections because, you hear what's hitting for other people, but you got to take in, what everyone else is doing. They're not cooking on the same thing. They're not cooking the same temps you're doing. Everything changes if you change pits, if you change anything, any variable. And so, of course, everyone was doing well when they went to drums. What did we do? Not, the 10, 15-year experienced team. We thought, we'll cook our brisket on a drum. We got a couple of calls on that. And then it veered off. We're not what I would call the most experienced drum cookers. So we went away from our tried and true, what we're good at, what, I feel we're good at. And it got crazy. So you start changing injections, you change rubs, you change the way tenderness is done, you change the way you use either au jus or mix barbecue sauce with it. Everything that I'm going back to, even before I watched the show, when Robert mentioned it on it today, I was like, crazy thing is maybe great minds think alike, because I'm doing the same thing. I just haven't done it yet. Like my going back to my roots is going to start our next contest in Covington. So,
well, speaking of great minds, Robert, what do you think about what he was just saying?
Well, yeah, I think over the years, even myself, we go to classes and we learn how to do what these other great pitmasters are doing. Like we've been to True Bud's class. We've been to a lot of great pitmasters over the years. And you take these little things about brisket, what they're doing, and then you start doing it. A lot of it with these videos, the Barbecue League, people see that and they start doing it. Then you start getting similarities across a lot of teams. And then the judges, I think they get to a point where they sort of get tired of that same flavor from every team, possibly. I remember back when we were hitting brisket, it was straight savory. There was no sauce on brisket. Mm-hmm. That wasn't happening unless you travel down to Florida towards the Panhandle. But we didn't put any sauce on brisket. It was straight savory, a little salty, and we were hitting like crazy. And then it just started to, I think everybody started doing that. Everybody was using the Miners products, the au jus, the beef base. using a lot of the same rubs. Everybody's, a lot of people are cooking on stick burners. Not that that really matters, but a lot of people have very similar flavor profiles, and it's hard to distinguish. Well, that thing that you sort of say, oh my God, that's great. Well, it's become the average standard now. So you're not scoring as high. I think that might have something to do with it. And then we start getting teams with adding sauce to brisket, I think, at some point. I don't know when that was, but I know we started to do it. We used to just add a little sauce to the au jus and brush it on. Then we started saucing the tops. And we were getting calls when we made those changes, but they never lasted. And if you saw my video, I didn't use sauce this last weekend. We went straight savory, and we came in third, so I was pretty happy with that.
So can I ask y'all a question? Because Wes, you started it. Robert, in your answer, you mentioned it also. You keep talking about going back to what you know, going back to your roots, going back to how can you have roots if you're always copying somebody or always looking for what somebody else is doing?
Robert, do you mind? So
go ahead.
The way I do that is when you first start out, I don't feel, at least I did not try to go copy anyone. I tried to get my foundation, my basics. I go out. I wanted to have my run with everything to see where my notes landed. When we started, our brisket actually did pretty well. We made a few tweaks on it, and it continued to hit. And then it wasn't until I started watching other people that I decided, hey, I'm going to change that. I like what they did here. That person's a great brisket cook. They may cook on this, but I'm going to do the same thing and incorporate it in my recipe. So I add that to the notes. And next thing you know, your notes are not your notes from what I call your foundation recipes. And again, you can call your foundation recipes when you started hitting in contests. And then you kind of get, hey, this is where I started getting calls. This is it. You're always going to change because palates change. I think COVID's changed. You got a whole new flux of judges that have come in. And again, if you change even the age of these judges, their palates are going to change. So it goes back to what I feel your roots is just what you started hitting with and you ran for a while and then you made the change after that. So
the point being, you have to have your own roots. You can't just look and copy and chase what other people are doing. Look, I was like, hey, Robert, what do I do? What do I do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And it wasn't until I'm like, you know what? I've got to do what I want to do. Absolutely. Right? I'm going to listen to what Robert says because he is, like I've said, and I'm not whatever. He is my mentor. He is the guy that's helped me more than anybody in barbecue. Because like, hey, Robert, what do I do? And we talk about everything. Robert, Robert, I mean, we discuss everything. Robert knows everything I do. And it's one of those deals where it's like, I've got to figure it out on my own also. Like I can't just be dependent on what he tells me what to do. And guys, I got to stop again.
Paul Keltner. Is that what you're going with?
Is on here, rooters and tutors.
We're big time.
And I didn't even think he would watch the show tonight because we talked to him. We're on a group chat with him. He doesn't respond to us, but we're on a group chat with him. And we talked about what the discussion was going to be about tonight, barbecue slumps. And he's like, what is a barbecue slump? I've never heard of it.
That's right. And these count as cash, right?
So he's just sitting there like, this is easy. I mean, and you know what? I mean, Paul and Lynn, they are some of the most incredible people. I'm so glad and fortunate that they've never gone through this because it's hard for a lot of us to go through this. And Paul and Lynn, they say they're always chasing Jason Cole, but I don't believe that. These guys are amazing. They're great. Paul, thank you so much for coming on the show and watching. If you could share this to some of your many
legions of fans,
that'd be awesome. But anyway,
so his publicist and his agent, I don't think allow him to speak with some of the old timers you got to be at a certain level to really go by and chat with the Keltners now.
What's up, Mark? How you doing? Good to see you, bud. Thank you for coming on and watching tonight. But anyway, enough of that. So we're going to get back in. And I mean, now the pressure's on me because all these big time people are on. But Robert, so if you were talking to me, because we talk all the time. If you're going to talk to, I see Chad Stewart's on. Chad Stewart, I know you're a friend of his. Great guy. What is, he says that he stays in a slump. I don't believe that, but what is something that you can tell somebody, hey, this is what it takes to get to that level? Because I mean, really and truly, a slump is different to everybody. I mean, there's 3 of us on here. Robert, and I'm sorry, Wes, but Robert is a top-notch, one of the best cooks in the country, right? Like, I mean, his slump looks different than Wes's slump, and Wes's slump looks different than my slump, right? Like,
Chris brought that up in my video. If you watch it, a slump is different to everybody.
Right.
Like, I think we're still in a slump. We haven't won a contest in a while.
But I would die for a 3rd place.
I can't remember when we won a contest. So,
well, I mean, and I'm being like, I'm not joking. I'm trying to be serious here, right? Like, Robert's expectations are at a different level than my expectations. Wes, I don't know. You're a great cook also. But my expectations.
It's not Robert's expectations. Trust me. We're the same boat.
So, and I put you ahead of me, right? So, I mean, I have expectations. You have expectations. So, how do you manage those expectations of a barbecue slump? Because it's not the same for everybody, and I think that's one thing that needs to be said, right? I mean, as you say, Chris Schaefer said the same thing.
Well, we're each striving for something different. I mean, each one of us wants to get that grand.
Right.
That's no different. But you may say, well, I just want to get top 5. But really, in the end, we all want to get grand. That's our ultimate goal.
Right.
And I think Wes brought up a good point, and it's something that we did for years and we stopped, is I kept copious notes. I mean, I had full on, that's my job normally during the day. I work with a lot of data. So I did this detailed spreadsheet from scores from every judge, every contest, and I'd keep sort of it and watch the trends, And that's another thing too. A lot of people, they do bad one contest or even 2, and then they change everything. But some people, that's what they have to do because they only compete in a few contests a year. But us that compete in maybe 15 or more contests a year can't change based off 1 or 2 contests. Like if somebody changed off this contest we did with the 50% certified judges, I would not change anything off that contest, no matter how you did, But one of the things I think the keys to this is keeping good notes of what you did every contest. And you know what? We stopped that. I did the last couple of years. I did not keep the details that I should have. And I sort of lost where I was or where I was heading. So, and, I got back to that this year. So I'm trying to keep a good track of where we're at. And I tell you what, if we didn't do good at this last contest, my next step, and I've been preaching this for years, make friends with some judges. Because I've already talked to a few and I said, hey, if this slump continues, I'm getting you all together and we're going to do 10, 12 judges trying my food and tell me what the heck's wrong with it.
And only me and Robert only me and Robert are going to do that.
That's right. But that is definitely key. I mean, Jeff Alexander and I, Big Blue Q, we did that probably earlier on. Like we've been doing this since 2012. And I want to say we did this like 13, 14, or 15 or something like that. I think Janet Appleton was on. She's a KCBS rep, and they actually sort of repped one of our practices where we had a bunch of judges. And we had like 10 judges. After we turned in our food, they had a detailed sheet and they told us exactly what was wrong. Yeah. And that fixed a lot of the issues that we had and got us back on track. Right. So that was sort of our next step. If we didn't start like Obion, if we crapped out there, that was our next step for sure.
So before we go any further, I want to elaborate on that in just a second, but I do have to go over some of our some more comments. Hank Vaden, welcome to the show. Amazing, great guy. Chad Stewart's keeping spreadsheets now, Robert, thanks to you. But this is Brian Payton says this, and I think this is something for everybody to understand. Stole this from a golf podcast, but applies to barbecue. It's really tough to get a GC in a barbecue contest. If you set your success level on wins, only, you're going to have a rough time, unless you're Paul Keltner, of course. I mean, him and Brad are the only two people I know, and Robert, and we'll get back to this point soon. But he said, if you keep grinding out top 10s and top 5s, making small tweaks here and there, we'll get successful. And that's so true. I think that is something that is very difficult for the Roberts. And Robert, I'm not picking on you, but you have had so much success in this game that for you, getting those grands is like, you've got to have grands for you to feel like you've had a successful weekend.
Right.
If for me, on the other hand, if I get a couple top 10s, I had a hell of a weekend, right? I mean, and Wes, if he doesn't win at least one category, it's been a bad weekend for him. But it's just little things like that how do you, okay, so now getting back to my question and Brett Borland, we're all happy that Robert talks to us. It makes our day whenever we get to talk to him. Robert, you've mentioned this many of times on the show, and it's something that me and you talk about all the time. We want to do, and we talk, whatever. You talk about getting judges to come help you, to not help you, but getting judges to come taste your food and try your food. If you're a normal everyday Joe like myself, whatever, or somebody that doesn't cook, how are you able to get those judges information? How can you get some judges? What is the best thing to do to get to that level to be able to call some? Because not everybody knows 12 judges that they can call to come and judge your food, right? I mean, Wes might be able to get 8. I might be able to call and get 2. What does it take to get that kind of information?
Well, it's making the relationships over time, especially at contests. I mean, if you're just starting out at contests, judges are always walking around before they judge. Not so much after, but there are some that walk around after. If they walk by you and you notice that, that card that's hanging, or that judge card or identification that's hanging from their neck, say hi. Go out of your way to say, hey, how you doing? I mean, obviously, what's that?
There's Facebook pages as well you can get
exactly.
on. And those guys are extremely helpful. There's actually just, certified judges Facebook pages that they want to help. And a lot of times, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I just want to say, because I'm passionate about this as well. If you know 1 or 2, that can lead to knowing 10 or 12. They're all extremely helpful, at least the ones that want to stay in it. They're all extremely helpful to want to come over and judge your product. I mean, that's what they do. That's their passion. When we're cooking, they want to judge, and they want to help teams. So got several. I know you've done. I need to do more as well, and that's one of the best things that'll help you out of a slump. Just getting it from the horse's mouth. Hey, I don't like this. Change that. But they kind of have the scuttlebutt. They obviously have their finger on the pulse of where you need to be.
Yeah, and you can go on those same Facebook pages where the judges are, or wherever, and let them know you're willing to host a judge going for their masters. I mean, for a while there, we were doing anywhere from 10 judges a year their master with us.
He said they do a lot of judges stuff with masters.
Yeah. So fortunately, I mean, we knew a lot of reps like Janet and Sam Appleton. If they knew any judge wanted to do a cook with the team, they would recommend us. So if you know any reps, just let them know as well. Say, hey, if you hear of any judges that are looking to cook with anybody for their masters, just let them know I'm willing to do it. Now, are they always right? No, not 100%. But they might key you in on some issue you're having that you don't realize.
So right. Joe just asked, have any of us, I'm assuming he's talking to us 3, have any of us ever taken a judge's class? I have not. I wish I could. I would love to one day. These 2, and that's probably why I'm where I'm at and they're where they are. They've taken the judge's class. And yes, it does help. Correct?
Yes. It just gets you where you know what they're looking for. You see where they're, I don't want to say led to judge, but you see their criteria, you see their guidelines. It helps you understand where you need to be. I mean, I think anyone who competes is going to invest this much money in the competition barbecue. They need to take a certified judging class. I think that is utmost imperative.
I mean, and not only that, going back to having judges that are doing their masters cook with you, I mean, you would hear them talk and say what they think. I mean, there were some times I left scratching my head, like, I can't believe they just said that. But majority, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they're looking for there. And then I'd make little tweaks based on that, especially if I heard it from more than one judge. So, I mean, that's the thing. Even having judges, if you do a practice and have a bunch of judges, you're looking for those trends. And that goes back to that spreadsheet. You're just looking for trends.
Right.
That way, you know, like if I know I'm trending about 3, 4, 5 contests where my pork taste scores are crap, guess what? I need to do something there.
So Nathan Dexter, another big timer, is on, and he said, go judge and see what other guys are turning in. So does that kind of go with what you're saying, Robert? As in, I've had 3 or 4 bad cooks. What is your bad cooks, top 15. But I've had cooks that I'm not excited with. I'm going to go judge to see what's being turned in. I mean, the only problem with that is you're only getting to see 6, possibly 7 entries, right? So you don't necessarily get to see the whole gamut of what's going on. But is that something that you can also, is that another way of seeing what is going on in the competition world?
Definitely. And you can also, your friend that's cooking next to you at a contest. I mean, I remember back in the day, he doesn't share anymore, but Jason Cole, one of the contests we did up in Franklin, he tried my stuff and I tried his. So, I mean, doing that kind of thing helps as well.
Yeah. And let me just say also, there is a pitfall. I don't know where you guys feel on this. I had this conversation with Chris Schaefer in Union City. Some people look at these that, you know, they've joined the barbecue league, which I'm going to tell you that thing is well worth its price to get the tips. But there is a danger in it. And I don't mean this bad towards the barbecue league, is they see these world champions. They see these just top tier pit masters cook this recipe. And they automatically think, I don't have to practice or do anything. I just need to copy what they're doing. And let me tell you, I feel like I'm a good cook out there, not on the level of these guys and Chris Schaefer and all the, you know, the world champions. And I've tried to emulate what he did in his brisket. I know he's a great brisket cook. You still got to practice that, guys. You got to go out there, put in the work, practice, try to get it, because when he cooks it, and we were to do the same thing, it more likely it's not going to taste the same. So just because you use the same recipe doesn't mean you're going to get the same results. Gotta run it.
Yeah, and that's kind of going back to the beginning of saying, going back to your roots. If you're just chasing what other people are doing, you don't have roots to go back to.
Absolutely.
Right? Sorry, Robert, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And it, like he said, it gets to the point where we all, like, I just joined the barbecue league, and there's some things on there I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that out. And I have, and we tried one thing back in Union City and did well with it. But it gets to the point where we start to all copy these things. And we are, again, it goes back to, it'll get to this point now where everybody's copying that and we'll have all the same stuff. And the scores will go down. They won't be winning as much using those same kind of things. And that's why it helps to go back and maybe think a little bit out of that box a little bit. You know, everybody says, well, great barbecue scores. Well, not if it's all the damn same, it's not going to score. Because if I'm a judge, you think if you're eating the same thing every weekend, and a lot of these judges go every weekend, if you're eating the same thing every weekend, guess what? It's going to get boring after a while.
Yep. And that's one reason I don't want this show. I don't push Atlanta Barbecue Store that much on it, but that's one of the reasons why we have so many different products. You know, don't necessarily do the exact same thing that somebody else is doing. There's a lot of products that are similar or something that can differentiate you from somebody else, but you're still doing something similar, because I think at the end of the day, they don't want to taste the same thing over and over and over. They don't want 6 of the exact same things. You know, if you can give them something that just stands out just a little bit, that's going to be a big thing. So, and I'm not just talking about us. Find another product that's a little different than what's similar but different at the same time, and go try that out.
I think the gold with these things like the barbecue league is the processes.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen some processes on there and I'm like, hey, that's pretty smart. I'm going to start doing that to make it just a little bit easier. So you know, for those kind of thing, for that kind of thing, that's gold.
How many people went and bought the huge spatula for the brisket and did all the other types? You see that stuff on there and you're just like, wow, that makes it easier. I watched that, as you just stated, for the processes of making it simpler. You know, I cook, my wife and them help me, you know, to run the boxes, but I do all the cooking and prepping myself. Anything I can take the shortcut, I'm jumping on it. But I fell in the trap, as I'm going to go back and say, trying to cook it thinking, well, that right there is one of the best brisket cooks. It's not, you got to practice it and make it your own.
Yep. And that's one thing that, I mean, and I won't talk much anymore because y'all are the stars of the show. But one thing that's important is cook it on your own. Figure it out on your own. I mean, Richard Crow asked a question. Do you think, he said older judges, I'm going to say experienced judges. Do you think experienced judges judge different from the newer judges? I don't like using the older and younger kind of thing. But do you think they, and then Lex came out with a great answer. Yes, it depends on how they were trained. There is no consistent training over the years. And one thing, talking to Emily from KCBS, it makes me feel really good because I do believe her where she said they are going to try and centralize the training. They do continue to say it's going to take time. They got to get the information correct. And they're talking about the beginning of next year, having that be able to come and centralize or whatever the training, because the training, I think one thing COVID did, I know, Robert, you work from home, right? You're able to do that a little bit now. It's been able to where you don't have to go to places. So now they're trying to figure out how they can make this judging more equal or whatever. Streamlined, yeah. And I hope that's the case. I mean, because I think all of us, it make all of us feel better about what's going on, correct?
Absolutely.
So, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things from this Barbecue League video, and I've talked to some judges, is from the Barbecue League video, one of the things they teach there is turning into that bacon of the pork butt.
Whoa.
What?
More.
Am I giving away your secret, buddy?
Barbecue fat. I mean, goodness gracious. Awesome.
You may get muted there, Robert, if you get too much into that.
I know. But it's funny that, and we were talking about where everything starts to get the same. I talked to a judge. He said, you know what, this last contest, and this was in Kennett, he said, I would say a good 80% of the boxes he had looked like they came off the Barbecue League. So that goes back to what I was saying. People are just starting to copy that same layout. I mean, we all have similar layouts anyway in our boxes, but I mean, you're going to see that over time, especially with the flavors as well. So,
yeah. What do you do with that? I'm a member of the Barbecue League. Y'all have heard me talk about the Barbecue League. We sponsor the Barbecue League, blah, 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 whatever. What do you do with that information? So you hear that 80% of the boxes turned in are the same. What is your mindset at the end of the day? And Paul, thank you so much. I'm going to get back to your comments here in a second, but let me just finish this because Paul, you're an awesome dude anyway. What do you do with that information? What do we do with that? Do you sit there and say, you know what, if it's winning, I'm gonna jump on board with that? Because if you are a member of the Barbecue League and you're on this stuff, you see it every weekend. They're posting, hey, I used to suck, I'm winning, right? Like, what do you do, or do you try to change it up just a little bit?
Hey, and I tell everybody this: if you're in a slump, all right, you'll try whatever you need to try. That's why I joined the Barbecue League, and I just did it recently. Before then, I just didn't bother. But we were in that slump. I said, I'll do what I have to do, and I made some tweaks. I mean, I'm not going full out what they're doing, but we made some tweaks. And we did well this last contest. I mean, we came in third. We got third in brisket. We got 4 calls. So you know what? I'm going to continue to run with it and make little tweaks.
Absolutely.
Because my goal, like I said, is to get GC and first in every category. That's my ultimate goal. That should be everybody's goal. I mean,
your ultimate result.
We set lower goals. Just, I just want to at least get a call in every category. Of course. That's my goal. But the ultimate goal, no matter what, is you want to please all 6 judges and you want to win the damn thing with a 720.
So Robert, I had a goal in my barbecue life, and it finally happened in Gadsden. We remember that, right? Like, I mean, that never happened.
What was that goal?
My goal was to finish ahead of Smoke Me Silly. I mean, and that to me is a big goal, right? I know we joke about it, whatever. But I put Robert on a pedestal. I put him up there as the, as guy to beat. And I was fortunate enough to beat him right now. I mean, it's like, and yes, he told me, yeah, I suck, blah, blah, blah. He had to make me feel bad about my beating him. But in the end of the day, it was like, you got to figure out how you're going to go. Because if we're not trying to get better, you're not a competitor, right? Like, I mean, the whole goal of being a competitor is to go get better and beat the guy in front of you, right? That's what competition is all about. I mean, in baseball.
Yeah. If you're watching this barbecue league and you're winning, like I heard one of the teams that did well this past weekend, they're running straight recipes off of the barbecue league. Well, if you're doing well and you're winning with it, keep on rolling. Don't stop.
Absolutely.
All right. It's when it stops working, that's where it helps to either go to another class or you go back to your notes and see what might have been working before I made the changes to those barbecue league recipes, But if it's working for you, you keep on rolling it. I don't care if you're copying somebody else 100% or not. Sure. If you're winning with it, just keep on going. That's what the name of the game is.
But that may also be their roots starting out. Let that be their foundation. And that is a good one to start out. You keep that as your foundation, make small tweaks, which way you go, but always come back to that. Because look, let's be honest, that stuff on there that they're presenting is phenomenal. I don't think it's ever going to get to a point where it's going to bomb. It's going to keep you middle of the road, and then you can, play off that. Hey, I need to go a little bit here, a little bit there. Great. It's great content. I mean, it really is. But I don't think it's going to be. You're not going to be able to keep doing that over the next couple of years. Just exactly. You're going to have to change it some. Because they're going to change it as well. I mean, they're some of the best in the world, and they're not going to be running those same recipes in a year from now.
Yeah. So Brad, getting based, Brad Linegar, he's a friend of the show. He comes on. He's a great guy. I would say, he's up there. I mean, Robert, I hate to say it, but at this point in time, he's killing it right now. He's
the man.
He's the best out there.
Him and Paul.
As much as it hurts me to say that, him and Paul, Robert, you're going to be there before it's all over. But to see him talk, he's never satisfied, right? Like, he's never satisfied with what he's doing. Everything he's doing is constantly trying to get better. In my opinion, he is the best in the business right now. Somebody asked me the other day, who do I think is the best? Brad is the best right now. And to hear Brad, he is not satisfied with where he's at, right? Like,
that's why he's good, because he's not satisfied.
And there's a lot of us out there the same way. I mean, yes. I could win GC and get a 718, and I'll be nitpicking on what made me not get that 720. Right. Exactly. Jason Cole at one time, he got like a 716 or whatever. I'm sure he was there. Where are those 4 points? Where did I miss those?
Right.
And when I got that 642, that 672, I was like, yeah, what is it going to take for me to get that another one? I'm just kidding. Rick said he did their pork recipe, a few tweaks, and I think that's a key thing. Do a little tweaks, make it a little different. And he had his best pork finish in 2 years. I don't think it's so much this is what the barbecue league is doing. I really don't. I think it's people are looking at them and they're thinking, what can I do to make my process better? And it's always if you look at it, I think, Robert, that's what you're saying, Wes, that's what you're saying also, is you're watching this with not a perspective of, I'm going to go copy them, of what can I do to use a little bit of that to make my process better than what it is today.
Sure. Yeah. I took several of their recipes and literally, I want to say half of it, and tweaked half of mine in there and just made it work. And I liked the end product, and I was like, I'm going to run this. And the first time we ran that new rib recipe, where I took some of their stuff, some of mine, we ended up winning ribs in Union City, and it was literally the best rib that I've ever cooked. And I hope I can do that again. But that's what I did. Just took some knowledge from them, put it to some of my foundation notes and recipes, and it worked. I have ran straight their stuff, and it's done okay. But you also, again, I'm repeating myself, but it's different, different places, different cities, different areas. It's just not going to do the same everywhere you go, unless you're Brad. He just seems like wherever he goes, and he can use about whatever rub to make it work.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So like, I'll use me as an example. I went to Boomerang's class out in Texas in December, and Brad was there, and Robert. I was one of the fortunate few that were able to go to Robert's class, right? So I have, I took all my recipes, I would say, are a combination of all three. It's not Robert's, it's not Matt's, and it's not Brad's. It's not any of them. It's something that I'm like, you know what? I like this, I like this, I like this, and I've made it my own. So therefore, it's none of my own, but I've combined it all to where it's mine, and that's what I do that's different from somebody else. And it's very interesting. Let me back up for a second. Paul was talking about he's on the committee, and they are working on the judges committee. They are working on coming up with a standardized, and it'll be next year. That's what I've been told, and that's what he just basically convened. So, guys, it's going to be good. It's going to happen. Damien, thank you so much. Good seeing you at RecFest also. Great job. Thank you so much for coming. And then in the barbecue coach, absolutely. I tell my buddies I don't get set up at comp with a mindset of anything less than we're here to win this thing. I can burn meat with friends at home for free. Hey, that's the truth. That's if that's not your mind. And Adam Gutro with Cajun Blaze, I'll never forget the contest, the show that he came on. He's like, my goal is I know, and Robert, we've discussed this also, but he's like, I know I can cook 4 categories. I also know that most people there are just trying to get a call. He's like, so I don't have to beat that many people. I've only got to beat 4 or 5 people because there's really only 4 or 5 people that are as committed to this as me. And that's probably one of the reasons that Robert has his winning percentage. Wes, you have your winning percentage, and Adam has his, right? It's that mindset that you get in of all I got to do is go do my job and I'm going to win this thing.
Well, there's a reason why you got some teams that go and they hang out, and there's nothing wrong with this. And it's a social event for them, and that is great. To me, we spend too much money. I want to get there, stick to the plan. They say, plan your work your plan. That's what I do. And that's why Robert goes to bed at 4:30 in the afternoon. He's you can't see this guy after 7 o'clock. He's serious about it. And I mean, right now, that's what we want to do. When we show up, we're looking to win this. We're not looking just to get calls. And I think you're starting to see more teams think that way because the competition has gotten as fierce as it ever has gotten. Where it used to be, you go to a contest, and this is back before. This is when I would look around and be like, oh my God, look at all these great teams. There was probably 5 to 7 that can win it. I mean, now you're looking at these things. There's over half, if not 3/4, that can win these contests. So you have to be on your A game and really stay to it. So it's getting fun, it's getting excited, but it's getting more difficult and more challenging to even GC these. So you GC nowadays, you have literally done something in this sport.
Oh yeah, you've got to get 4 calls
without a doubt.
Contest, not all of them. I'm not saying that's every contest, but most of them, you got to get 4 calls to win, and that may still not even guarantee you.
You're right. I mean, back in the day, when you get 2 calls and think you were okay, no, you get 3 calls, you're like, wow, top 5. You're exactly right. You need to get 4 calls nowadays because there are too consistent of cooks out there, and they're all really good. You don't get that chicken call. You're just looking to take home some money now.
So the bottom line is, you know what? Take good notes because you will use them down the line. You will reference because you sort of get bored with things. You get bored cooking, and you make these little tweaks thinking they're going to work, and they do work a couple contests, then they don't work anymore. And then you got to remember, what the heck was I doing where I was hitting? You could see where the trend changes over time. So yeah, keep those good notes and make friends with judges. Like I said, they're your best friend. I mean, if anything, they're willing to help you. A majority of them are. So don't be afraid to set something up at your home. Invite another team over, so at least you have 2 different teams turning in entries, and have those judges give you feedback and tell them, please be honest, because you're not helping me if you're not.
And the other thing,
Can I add to that right quick, Robert, before you go, Brian? One thing that I tell everybody that listens, sorry, buddy, is get certified judges that are open and honest, as he stated, because your friends and your family will get you beat every time you go out. So get some people that are just going to tell you complete honesty no matter what.
And I will say this. You are doing no good by having judges come try your food or giving your food to somebody else if you're not willing to listen to the feedback given to you, right? Like I have been fortunate enough to share food with Robert, right? And Robert will tell me, hey, it was fine. It just was a little bland. It didn't have any flavor. You're missing out. And I could easily be like, well, screw you, Robert, that, whatever. But if I'm honest with myself, I'm sitting there saying, what can I do to make it better? He's trying to help me. And it's up to me because every one of there's a lot of barbecue teams that have never turned in bad food. It's always the bad judges, right? Like, but if you're honest with yourself, it's, hey, what do I need to do? And I think that's the other part of if you're in a slump, you're in a slump. Your food might not be as good as you think it is.
Yeah. And you hit something there. You got to be honest with yourself. And everybody, I think, is guilty of that. If you don't do well at a contest, those damn judges, they killed me. It's those judges. And I've done it over the years, and I'll go sit down at the trailer or motorhome or whatever, and I'll think, well, maybe I was a little heavy-handed on that finishing rub, or maybe I did this. Or I start to really analyze and think about what I did or what I didn't do right. And it usually I can think about, okay, maybe it was me. So you definitely need to be honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
And real quick, before we go, Damien, he's asked a question. How did you guys get into competition cooking? But the better question is, and Damien is he's Rec Tech. He went to Rec Tech Fest, and it sounds like you might be looking to get into barbecue competitions. How did you know when your food was good enough, or when did you think you were good enough to get into competition barbecue?
You want to go with that, Robert?
I'll do mine. I never thought I was good enough or bad enough. I didn't know any difference. I just said, hey, this looks like fun to me. I'm going to go do it. That's me. I'll let y'all go now.
You go ahead, Wes.
Okay. Well, I don't really remember exactly when the point was that I felt my food was good enough. I think it just changed for me whenever I showed up at a contest and I had confidence. I didn't always have the confidence when I showed up. And again, you see the big trailers. We used to cook out of a canopy. You turn in your stuff and you just feel defeated. I think it changed for us when we turned in a box and we really felt that we could hang on anybody. Not necessarily win it and GC it, but we weren't going to get blown out. We were going to get a couple of calls and our stuff came out. We weren't chasing the cook. So when we got our timelines down, notes, and we weren't chasing it, we felt confident. That's when it turned for us.
Awesome. So for us, the addiction started back in 2011 when we started Backyard. And of course, you're not cooking brisket. You're just cooking chicken and ribs at the time. Some you did pork. But I really wanted to cook brisket. So we went pro in 2012. First thing I did was I took a class from two of the top cooks in the country at the time. Learned how to not scrape chicken skin, and I haven't went back since. But yeah, that's sort of what started us out there in the pro side. And the other question is, when do you think you were good enough? I still don't think I'm good enough. When I hear other people like Brian saying he's the man or he's great, I'm like, who the heck are you talking about?
I noticed he just turned around and look at
Lex.
He's behind him, right? Who am I? Oh, wow. I just have Bert behind me.
But when we talk about these great cooks out in the trail today, I'm like, man, one day I'm going to be as good as they are. That's the way I think. I mean, I don't think I'm ever good enough. I'm constantly. What did he say? Chasing that rabbit or whatever you want to call it. You're constantly chasing. And like I said, my goal is always that top goal. 180 in every category and it's 720. That's everybody's goal tonight.
You're not good enough and you got room for improvement. So if you're not improving or striving for it, you need to get out of it.
Yeah. Honestly, I got into barbecue because of Barbecue Pitmasters, right? I found that show. My friend bought a Komodo Joe, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to go get a smoker. Never had a smoker. So I looked at it, and I was like, oh, that's tiny. I can't get that much food on a Komodo Joe. I want to find something bigger. So I ended up getting a Lang 60, and that was my first smoker that I ever bought. I had never smoked anything, never smoked a pork butt, never smoked a brisket, ribs, anything. And I did some research on Langs, and then all of a sudden barbecue competitions showed up. And then I get this going, and I was like, you know what, this sounds really cool. At the time, the National Barbecue Tour, I don't remember the name of that contest in Cumming, Georgia, was there. And I was like, you know what, that's 20 minutes from my house. I'm going to go cook that. I had no clue what I was doing. The first time I ever smoked anything was for a practice cook for that. And the second time I ever smoked was at a contest, and I ended up getting 11th place. So to me, it was never how good am I? Am I good enough to go compete? You're never good enough to compete, Robert. I agree with you. Like if you think you're good enough, you're not. You got to keep going to get better.
Yeah. And I think something we all have in common is we all have that passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, I don't think a day goes by that I don't think about something competition barbecue related every day. When we first started out and I didn't know anything, it seemed like majority of the day was thinking about competition barbecue. I was always on the internet trying to figure out, looking at Malcolm Reed stuff all over the place. But even today, I'm that way. Now that I got this barbecue league thing membership, I look on there. I'm looking at videos. Some of the videos I've looked at like 10 times, you know.
Robert,
we all have that passion.
We text almost daily, right? And it's never about like, hey, how's it going? It's, hey, are you done with baseball yet? So we can start talking about barbecue, right? Like that's what it's all about. Like, I mean, Robert and I, we talk about barbecue nonstop. I mean, and you know, I joke, Robert and I, we joke all the time. Bill Purvis was like, man, I really want to get to know Robert because y'all's camaraderie that y'all have back and forth, y'all's banter is awesome. But I, you know, Robert, I think the world of Robert. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's, if you're not thinking about barbecue, and I don't even get to cook. I don't even get to cook that much, but I still think about barbecue all the time.
And I don't know about you guys, and maybe it's just me, but I have what I call a healthy fear when I go to a contest. You never want to do bad. So you kind of have that, like, it keeps me motivated. Again, I don't know if it's a fear. You just have this nervousness about, man, I really want to keep my streak. I want to start doing better. I want to keep this thing going. I can't miss a step. It just keeps me, maybe that's why I can't sleep that well at night. You know, I can go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, but I'm only going to get an hour and a half of sleep because I'm constantly thinking my next step, what I need to do here. I can't mess this up. This has got to be on point. And that is a motivation for me. So I have this healthy fear inside of me when I'm at a competition that keeps me motivated. And I feel like if I ever lose that, it's time to hang it up.
Yep, I agree 100%. Well, I do need to say something real quick for all of you still watching and all our customers at Atlanta Barbecue Store. Ellen and I are leaving tomorrow afternoon to go to Las Vegas. We will be out in Las Vegas from basically Wednesday through Saturday. So if you have any orders, and I'm sorry, honey, but if you have any orders, especially big orders, go ahead and get them in today, tomorrow morning. Before like 10-ish, that would be awesome to help us out so we can get them out the door. Do what?
You're in trouble.
She's the one that told me to say this, but I will have my nephew here throughout the week, hopefully able to get some orders out. So if you need Memorial Day stuff, you need to get it in now anyway because shipping is terrible. So go ahead and get your orders in today. If not, it might be next week before it goes shipped out. Ellen will put something on there. But I just needed to put that out there without it's awesome. But anyway, thank y'all so much. Don't drop your proteins on the ground. Yeah, Hank, I don't know who did that. Wes, you must have done that.
No, you have to ask Hank about that. That's an off the air topic.
So I'll tell you what, I'm to the point now where it looks like Robert fell asleep on my screen.
I'm here.
I think you woke him up earlier, Wes, when you talked about when you said his name wrong.
Right.
I'd like to get Hank and Myron back on the show again. So Hank, if you can make that happen, that would be a lot of fun. We had a great time with that last time before.
Give him a shout out for his first GC, man. He's NBN cook, whole hog. He comes over to KCBS and just shows out down in Brookhaven. Now I
remember watching. I was like, that dude is on. I mean, just awesome. I mean,
tearing it up, man.
I mean, it's incredible. It's so cool to see the people winning right now. I mean, you know, Lee Hickle, another one. He got his first KCBS Grand this weekend at the Rufus Teague. So I mean, I think he won Team of the Year in IBCA 2 years in a row, but then he got his first KCBS win. And Robert, to me, is out of a slump. To him, he's not out of the slump. He's still going. Robert, when is your next opportunity for that GC?
I will be not this weekend, because I don't think there's any competitions this coming weekend, except if you want to go to Nebraska, which you live close, you're lucky. But nothing close to here. So the following weekend will be in Covington, Tennessee, not too far out of Memphis. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. And then if you get a chance, please go on to YouTube to Silly Barbecue Life. Check out our videos and please subscribe. That'd be a great help. It doesn't cost anything. You just got to have a Gmail account, right? I think. That's it.
So while I've got you on here, and before we sign off, June 25th, Smoke Me Silly. Lex, I know you're listening. We're going to have you guys over there. We're thinking about it. Can we get a celebrity appearance?
We're actually in Maryville, Tennessee that weekend.
Oh,
sorry.
Thought we were going to reel them in.
One day.
I mean, you put it out there. You were ready to set the hook. And
I mean, he just spit it out, didn't he?
August, what is it, 6th or 7th, whatever that weekend is. You need to have a contest. We'll come to Mississippi then.
Let's just get one together.
Yeah, let's do it. We only need 15 teams, right?
Hey, Mark Porter, you heard him. Let's do another one in Brookhaven.
There you go. First weekend
Well,
August.
here in Georgia. No, I don't know if I could do it. I would love to have a contest. Bring on Malcolm and Heath. I just need to get in touch with everybody. But anyway, Robert, Wes, thank you. Wes, you're welcome for, you call and begging to come on the show. You are great.
This is a dream to share the screen with Robert. I mean, he's like Jason Cole. I don't even look him in the eye. I have to look kind of down. It's crazy.
You notice the placement. Royalty. He is in the middle for a reason. I mean, Robert, you are the man. The only thing that would make it better is if Lex was in there, because we all know Lex is really the one that runs that show.
Hey, wait a second. I had to borrow all these trophies from Wes. So
yeah. You see Wes
jokes, okay.
It's like bear. That's normally full of many, many trophies.
Yeah.
It's almost like Hank's background that he has back there. But anyway, mine is just bare. Mine's like a white wall. So anyway, thank y'all so much for coming on tonight. I do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Memorial Day is coming up. I'm not sure if we're going to have a Memorial Day show or not. We might. I know y'all are all going to be out having a great time. But speaking of that, Robert, what are you cooking for Memorial Day?
Actually, we're going to do a full competition practice this weekend.
Of course you are.
We got to get better, man. I'm telling you.
So how do you get out of a slump?
Practice.
Through it.
Practice.
Absolutely.
Moral of the story, if you want to be like Robert, practice, practice, practice.
That's it.
You want to be like Wes?
Just kind of look through it. Flip a coin. Watch the barbecue league. Don't practice. You'll get there, guys. Buy a big trailer and show up.
Hope for the best. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Products are getting scarce. That's true. They are. So go ahead and load up now. Hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for watching us on Chewin the BBQ Fat. And we will see you hopefully next week on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Y'all have a great night, and we will see you soon.
Good night, guys.